Yeah, yeah. What's good, my people? Welcome to Box Center. I'm your host, JSmiff, in the flesh. You already know what it is, man. This is your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. So we're gonna do what we do, man. Let's get it in. So first off, in case you didn't know, yesterday Box Center the show debuted. So check it out. It's up right now. Make sure, man, you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so. Box Center is all original content. Yo, y'all gotta see that first episode. Um, you get to see goofiest of the oofiest, what the people want to see, and of course, um, there's a third segment, which is called "Take That to the Bank to Go Get Some Pounds." In that segment, Jay Stradamus, aka JSmiff, yours truly, predicts what's going to happen in upcoming fights. So check out that first episode, my peoples. It was up yesterday. It was live, and like I said before, yo, Mondays through Fridays, I'm gonna be live at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're gonna be talking about the best fights, what the people want to see. We're gonna be making predictions, and we're gonna be trash talking. To be honest with y'all, yeah, I know we're gonna be trash talking. So let's get it in, my peoples. You already know it. You already know it. I am him. I am your plug. I'm your connections. You already know, man. Check it. Man, listen, when you watch a video from Jay Smith, don't be cheap with that like button, my people. Just go like that, pop, hit that like button. It's free of charge. um, but check it. Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga are going to be fighting next week. That's it. We're a week away from that fight. Not too many people are giving Berlanga a chance to win it. To be honest, I got Canelo folding him. I got Canelo stopping him. I don't see this fight going the distance just because there's multiple factors, but I think the main one for me is the fact that Edgar Berlanga doesn't have championship experience. He hasn't been under the bright lights, and you're going up against Canelo Alvarez. One of the best fighters in boxing. So to me, that inexperience is gonna play out in the ring. Those bright lights are gonna get to Edgar Berlanga, and Canelo's gonna get to Edgar Berlanga. I think he's probably gonna be jumpy. Probably gonna have a fast start, but slowly but surely, I believe Canelo's gonna pick him apart. So I got Canelo beating Edgar Berlanga. In my opinion, is gonna happen by or before the 10th round. Those body shots are gonna, start catching up, and from the 7th round forward, Berlanga's gonna start taking some big shots, and I believe, either the ref is gonna have to save him, or he's gonna get folded. That's just the way that I see it playing out. Anything can happen in boxing. We've seen it before. One punch can change the outcome of a fight. But to me, it's least likely. I think Canelo is gonna do what he does. So, what's Canelo going to do next? Let's say he beat Edgar Berlanga, which I expect him to do so. What is he going to do next? Who is he going to fight next? You tell me. There's two main options for Canelo right now, and that's David Benavidez and Terrence Bud Crawford. Now we have to take something into consideration. Canelo has opted not to fight Benavidez all these years why would he fight him now? His Excellency Turkey Al-Sheikh expressed interest in Canelo fighting Bud Crawford. So let's see how that's going to play out. Let's see how that's going to play out. Because now he's going to fight Berlanga. If he wins that fight, he's going to revisit talks with His Excellency Turkey Al-Sheikh. And of course, the Terence Crawford fight is going to be a topic of discussion. Now, for whatever reason, there's a lot of fans that are saying, I don't want to see Canelo versus Crawford. I don't even understand why, why somebody wouldn't want to see that fight. Like, that's a great fight. 2 pound-for-pound fighters. 2 champions. 2 multi-division champions. 2 champions who have been undisputed. Canelo's not undisputed right now, but he's been undisputed. And Terence Crawford is the first fighter to be undisputed in 2 divisions in the 4-belt era, of course, before anybody want to correct me. So Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, that's a great fight. I don't know why people say, oh, I don't want to see it. I think they're scared to see Terence Crawford actually win that fight. And they don't even want him to have that opportunity. Yo, my peoples, if you love boxing, smash that like button, man. I'm telling you, hit that like button. Subscribe to Box Center, because this is that boxing content. This is that real, I'm your plug, my peoples. Crawford is overrated. Come on, stop it. The thing about the word overrated is that it's about opinion, and then whatever you use to base that opinion, you only do that with Crawford, right? You don't do that with other fighters. Because look, you're saying Crawford is overrated, right? But the guy is a 4-division champion, a 2-division undisputed champion. He's one of the most accomplished fighters of this era. Pound for pound fighter, one of the best in the world. How could you be overrated? If anything, he's underrated because he got so many haters that don't believe in him. He's underrated. He's underrated, not overrated. If he was overrated, then everybody would believe that he's the best, but that's not the case. Saludos, Maxima Antonia. So Terence Crawford is definitely not overrated. He's one of the most accomplished. See, that's the thing, that when it comes to accomplishment, they're not about opinion. When I tell you he's a 4-division champion, you can't dispute that. All you can say is, look, they're nobodies. But then again, that's opinion. So all you could do really is have negative opinions on top of negative opinions. And usually, that always happens with every great fighter out there. What do people do? They try to discredit their opponents. That's what happened when you're great. People discredit your opponents. Look at Floyd Mayweather. What did people say? Oh, nah, he only fought people that was washed up. That's what they said about Floyd. So every fighter, that's what people do. They did when they're great. Since you can't discredit his skills, since you can't say that he don't have skills, then all you could do is discredit his opponents. That's it. That's all you got. You see? Like, all you could do is discredit his opponents. Like, look, you say handicap Errol Spence. Why? Because you're hating on Bud. I didn't see handicap Spence. You want to see handicap Spence because you can't accept Bud's greatness. I saw a great Errol Spence. A lot of people saw a great Errol Spence. Fighters that were present saw a great Errol Spence. But fans who hate Bud, who want to see him lose, you see a handicap Errol Spence. You see, you're saying Floyd for good people, but it's like I told you, because you're biased. There's a whole other fan base that will say the same things you say about Bud. They'll say stuff about Floyd's opponent. They'll say, oh, this guy was washed up. This guy was no good anymore. This guy was not the same anymore. It's the same thing, Brody, bro. The same exact thing. When a fighter is great, that's all you could do. Point at his opponents. Look at his opponent. Look at his opponent. And then be on denial about his opponents. Because He beat Porter, a champion, but you're on denial. Oh, now he washed. He beat Amir Khan, but you're on denial. Another champion. Now he beat Madrimov, another champion. Yo, he's been beating champions. Stopped everybody he faced in the 147 division. So to you, they're nobodies because as a fan of boxing, you probably never been involved in boxing in your life. But yo, nobodies don't get ranked in the top 5 of the sanctioning bodies just like that. They're a bunch of nobodies to you because you don't know about boxing like that. That's the reality, my boy. My bad, but I gotta tell you, that's how it is. He was great before the accident. See, the thing about the accident is that there's a false narrative around that accident. There's a super false narrative around that accident. And I'm going to tell you what it is. If we look at his injuries sustained from that accident, Errol Spence didn't suffer a single injury that had long-term effects to it. That's the type of accident that looks a lot worse than what it is. Like, look, you're saying he was knocked out cold. Yo, there's people that get knocked out cold in boxing every day. What are you talking about? So the people that are knocked out cold in boxing, they're not the same anymore? People get knocked out cold. That doesn't mean... You're saying that he was lucky, right? You're right. He was 100% lucky. But the point is, yo, Errol Spence didn't break a single bone in his body, my brother. His worst injury was literally missing tooth. He lost teeth. You see? Now you're talking about because he was knocked out cold, he's not the same. That's not true, bro. Number one, you're not a doctor. You cannot say that. Number two, we've seen a bunch of fighters get knocked out cold and come back and be great again. So that's cap. We see Manny Pacquiao get knocked out cold, go to sleep, and then beat Keith Thurman at over 40 years old. You see? I proved that to you easily. That narrative that you made up about, nah, he's knocked out cold, so he's not the same anymore. You made that up, my brother. Again, you made that up because of your hate for Terrence Crawford. That's the reality. It's not common sense. It's the sense that you're putting into it because you can't accept the reality. Errol Spence did not have a single injury that lasts 3 years to heal. He didn't have nerve damage. He didn't have neurological damage. He didn't have a single broken bone in his body. Errol Spence physically was exactly the same. But, you know, with the accident, that's how you can hate on Buck Crawford. Exactly. You're saying Manny wasn't the same after getting knocked out. You ask Keith Thurman if he wasn't the same. Keith Thurman will tell you that you don't know what you're talking about. Keith Thurman will tell you, yo, what are you talking about? I was undefeated, an undefeated champion, and that man beat me at over 40 years old. But cool story, though. Again, when you're talking about fighters getting knocked out and punch resistance, all cases are not the same. You're making that up. You are making that up. Oh my God, now Thurman was washed. Bro, let me see. It's CF Sports Club. So, based on the name, I'm expecting you to know boxing. It's always casual boxing fans or people who never been involved in the sport. Look, that's your go-to strategy. First, you diminish Spence. It's the accident. Now Thurman is washed. Like, is that really what you do? Like, you just discredit fighters? Like, go back. Look, yesterday I did a live and I spoke about fans like you, bro. I spoke about fans. Like, in this whole conversation, you haven't said a word about skills, about the body attack, about the knockout punches, about the counter punches. All you talk about is that, nah, this guy was washed, and this guy was in an accident, and this guy wasn't the same no more. Come on, man. Come on, man. What is you talking about? Oh shit. Nah, nah, nah. Listen, I'm not pretending that you're a stranger. I honestly didn't recognize you, my guy. I honestly didn't recognize you. Now I was thinking to myself, damn, I know that name, and now I'm like, oh shit, my boy. That's my word. I did not recognize you. Facts, facts for real. You know you my guy. Now listen, you saying my boy William Allen, right? You saying that I'm biased towards Crawford, right? But what is bias about telling the facts, right? Here, listen to what I'm saying. Crawford is a reigning champion. That's a fact. He's an undefeated champion. That's a fact. He's a 4 division champion. That's a fact. So when I say the facts, you tell me that I'm biased. But how is that being biased, my guy? I'm telling you the facts. Now, when you start telling, well, this guy was washed and this guy, that's not a fact. That's an opinion. Because when do we decide who's washed and who's not if they were able to accomplish? Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. For example, we can say Pacquiao was not the same after Marquez, but Keith Thurman won't agree with that. Keith Thurman got beat by Pacquiao, so he'll say, what? He wasn't the same, so how he beat me? So I got beat by what? Crawford was to lose supposed to lose the last fight, and the judges bailed him out. You see? That again, look, that's your opinion. If you see it like that he was bailed out by the judges, I didn't see it like that. I don't see anybody reporting that. I don't see anybody, reporting that it was a robbery other than fans who don't like Crawford. Like, look, you spend 15 minutes discrediting his whole opponent list, and then you telling me that he lost his last fight and the judges robbed the other guy. So it's like, if Crawford beat Canelo, it's gonna be like, nah, the judges robbed Canelo. Canelo wasn't the same after Bivol. Like, there's nothing that Crawford could ever do so you could give him credit ever. There's nothing Crawford could ever do so you could be like, this guy's the man. This guy's one of the best of this era. There's nothing he could do. No matter what he does, you're gonna say something. You're gonna say like, nah, it was something else. It shouldn't have been like that. So let me ask you a question, right? You're saying let Crawford KO Boots, right? Crawford is at 154 right now. Boots is at 147. So they're not in the same division. So let me ask you a question. How about Crawford fight Boots and Canelo fight Benavidez? What do you think about that? Crawford versus Boots and Canelo versus Benavidez. So look how simple it is. Here's the difference. Watch this. Here's the difference between those two fights. When Terrence Crawford was with BLK Prime, which was very shortly, he sent Boots an offer to fight him on BLK Prime for his title. And Boots people, his pops declined the offer. Like, nah, we're going to be loyal to Showtime. Right? So Boots actually had the opportunity to fight Crawford, and they turned it down because they was loyal to Showtime. And look, Showtime, look what happened with Showtime. They got ran into the ground. So they should have left and fought Crawford on BLK Prime, but they did not. Benavidez has never had an opportunity to fight Canelo. He's been Canelo's mandatory and still didn't get the opportunity to fight Canelo. So look at the difference. Bud gave this dude an opportunity to fight. Canelo never gave it to Benavidez. Now what? So what you're saying that Benavidez had a contract with them, that's actually not true. Boots, listen to this. Boots didn't have a contract with PBC. He had a contract with Showtime, right? Showtime was already going out the window. They didn't even have more fights with Boots. They pulled the plug. So he could have went on BLK Prime, but Boots' father said it himself that they were loyal to Steven Espinosa. So Steven Espinosa, even though he knew Showtime was going out of business with boxing, he told them not to go fight on BLK Prime. Showtime was going out of business. They could have let him go and fight over there, and they did not. Yo, you don't understand. He was locked in with Showtime, but they had already made the decision to pull the plug on boxing. They already knew that Boots wasn't going to fight on Showtime anymore. That's it. Boxing was going to be over. Steven Espinosa already knew boxing was leaving Showtime. Yo, listen. You keep talking about they wasn't officially done. Bro, do I need to now point out cross promotion fights? Do I really need to get into that? I shouldn't have to get into that. I shouldn't, come on. They could have still did a cross promotion. If you want to go that route that you're saying they had them locked in, they could have done a cross promotion fight. They could have still fought. Bro, do we need to point out the times that PBC, Showtime, and HBO did cross promotion, and then PBC and Showtime did cross promotion with the Zone? Do we really need to get into that, bro? We don't have to get into that. Let me remind you that Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia was on Showtime and the Zone. That was on Showtime and the Zone simultaneously. There you have it. Tank Davis was locked in with Showtime and PBC. Ryan Garcia was locked in with Golden Boy and the Zone. My God, bro. Now you bringing in the small-time promoter. Now you look. First you said the promotion. Now you bringing in the promoter. Bro, Boots had a contract with Showtime. He had a contract with Showtime, and at the same time, Bud could have fought him with BLK Prime. But you're talking about the promoter can make details. The point is that Boots with Showtime never tried to make a fight with Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford made an offer. Just that simple. Terrence Crawford tried to make a fight with Boots. Now, how about Canelo Alvarez? Did he try to make a fight with Benavidez? Nope. You see, you're saying that it was a cap offer. Meanwhile, Bozy Ennis himself, you can look up the video on YouTube, himself say, yo, yes, they approached me, they talked to me directly, they told me to make the fight, but I spoke to Espinosa, and I told them that I'm loyal to Showtime. That's simple. That's simple. What you're comparing doesn't make no sense, my guy. Like that comparison about Haney, because the problem here, it wasn't about the amount of money. You're talking about, listen. It's a bad comparison, because the comparison you're making is that Shakur felt like he's being lowballed. Boots didn't feel like he was being lowballed. They just felt like, nah, yo, we not going over there. We on this side of the street. They didn't play. Boots never said, and his pops never said that they try to lowball him. They said that they wasn't crossing the street and they wasn't doing nothing like that. That's what they said. Oh my God, bro. Bro, listen to what you're doing. First, you said the promotional company. Then you brought up the promoter. Now you're saying that when it's the fighter, like you're all over the place. I'm showing you. Terrence Crawford and his team made a legitimate offer. Jerome Booth and his father is on TV saying, I turned it down. And now you're making up all this stuff in your head that you're debating about. You're saying the network, but the network is irrelevant because Showtime has worked with the Zone. Showtime has worked with ESPN. So Showtime already proved that they've been able to cross the street. Showtime had their fighters fight on ESPN. Showtime had their fighters fight on the Zone. BLK and Prime, they're wherever they are hosting their little shows. What does that got to do with the fact that they're going to pay Boost the money to fight? See, you don't know, you don't see that that's all you do. You keep pointing at everybody else. Look what you did with Crawford. You pointed at his opponents. You pointed at this guy being washed up. You point at everybody else. Now, when Boost didn't fight, look what you're doing. You're pointing at BLK. You're pointing at Crawford. You're pointing at the promoter. You're pointing at everybody except at the guy that had the opportunity to fight Crawford and did not. You want to point at everybody, my guy. You see, you want to point at everybody. And then you tell me Crawford don't want to fight. You're telling me what somebody else wants because somehow you know. I can tell you, I personally don't know what Crawford wants because I don't know Crawford. I don't know anybody in his team. So I can't possibly know what he wants. Somehow you know what he wants though. You think about that. Oh, he knew. He knew. Look at it. It's crazy that you think you knew, but it's even crazier that you think what somebody else knew. You like, how do you go in somebody else's mind, bro, and decide that you know what they know? You know, what does boxing history got to do with what Crawford is thinking in his head, my guy? I know boxing history too, but I don't understand how that correlates with what's in his mind. You read minds based on history, then you should read minds based on everything. Because you see relationships, you see marriages, and you see historical what happens in marriages and with kids and with grown-ups. So you should know everything then because of history. Like, that don't even make no sense, bro. You don't make no sense. Crawford made an offer that he was expecting to get accepted. Crawford made an offer that he thought they was going to take because Boost was going to make a career payday. They made Boost a career payday offer. You see the difference? They made Shakur a 25% offer. Haney knew Shakur wasn't going to take that. But when Crawford made Boost a career payday offer, they thought he was going to take it. They thought he was going to take that offer. See? Now, Devin Haney definitely made an offer to save face. That's a fact. But Terrence Crawford made an offer to fight. And in your head, you're making up this crazy story about, I know what he believes, and I know what he thinks, and I know why he's doing things the way he's doing them. Man, bro, you my guy and everything, but you're being delusional with Terrence Crawford. All right, that's your opinion. If you believe Boost will watch Crawford, that's your opinion, my guy. What can I tell you? I mean, no, I'm not saying that it's crazy to believe it. I'm saying that is your opinion. However, we know that Terrence Crawford made an offer, and we know that Boost could have fought him, and they chose not to. You're making up the reason why. You're making up your own reason. We already know you don't like Terrence Crawford. So anything you come up with is always going to be against Terrence Crawford, my guy. What you say about Crawford is not reliable because you always look for a negative twist to it. Even when you don't know what happened, you make up a negative what happened inside your head. Oh, he knew Boost wasn't going to take it. Oh, he did it to save face. Bro, those are things that you're making up in your head, literally. How you come up with that? How do you really come up with that? Now you see, with Haney, that's different. Why? Not only did he make a low ball offer, he left the division right after. He literally left the whole division. And what I'm going to remind you is that Devin Haney said that he's going to hold on to all his undisputed titles. That's right there. You can look for the video. I'm going to hold on to my undisputed titles. He didn't want to give them up. And when Devin Haney give up his undisputed status, when he was forced to fight Shakur, when he was mandated to fight Shakur. See? So if you know history and you see what was happening, Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson were headed to a purse bid. And if they would have gone to purse bid, guess what? Yo, the standard purse bid gives the champions between 80 and 70%. So Devin Haney, if they would have went to purse bid, he would have got around the same amount that he offered Shakur. He would have got around the same thing. Because when it goes to purse bid, the champion gets between 80 and 70 in most cases. But Devin Haney didn't want to go to purse bid. What he did, left the whole division. And I told people he's never going to come back to 135. And what he did, he never came back. Slowly but surely, he gave up all them titles and started talking about going to 147. So Devin Haney blatantly ducked Shakur and fooled people with that fake offer that he sent them. And you know that it was a fake offer because it was a take it or leave it offer. It was like, oh, you're not taking it? I'm out of here. I'm leaving the division. That's how you know that was a fake offer. This dude said, Crawford said I will not fight Boots. IBF stripped him and he moved up. Yo, you literally made that up during this live. You made that up. You literally made that up. The funny thing is that Crawford had already said that he was moving up to 154. Crawford had already said that. And you're going to paint this fake narrative about, no, it's because Boots took his title and then he moved up. Stop the cap, buddy. That's cap. It did not happen like that. Crawford had already said he was going to 154 when the IBF chose to strip him. And Terrence Crawford will never fight at 147 ever again. I told people that as well. Yo, George Pulido, these people don't understand. They hate Crawford so bad that they want Boots to knock him out. That's why they believe it. Yo, everybody that says Boots will knock him out, they was also saying Spence will knock him out. And then when he beat the brains out of Errol Spence, what happened? They started with the excuses. All of a sudden, Errol Spence wasn't the same no more. The car accident. He smoked a blunt the day before. His cat died. I heard every single excuse in the world already. But the bottom line is that Buck Crawford put the beats on him. On an undefeated 3-belt champion. And Terrence Crawford manhandled him. That's it. You see, that's a fact. Can't really dispute that. All those other hater opinions about, no, what happened was, is that Bud, you know, hey, let's discredit his opponents. I don't even want to hear that. I don't even want to hit it. My peoples, this all started off with Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga. That's next week. That's next week. That's next week, my peoples. So, is anybody giving Edgar Berlanga a chance to win that fight? That's what I want to know. Hey, yo, my people, listen. Don't get emotional on me. Don't get emotional. If you can't handle the trash talking, I don't know what to tell you. It's gonna be a rough ride. Crawford outboxed Errol Spence and made it look easy. You see? And you remember, yo, George, I'm sure you remember for 3 years, the same people were saying Errol was gonna knock him out. Errol is too big. Crawford is too little. He's gonna walk him down and break his body. All of that stuff. And look what happened. Errol's gonna pummel him. And look how that fight played out. So now all of the people that were saying Errol was gonna beat him, they mad because he put such a beating on Errol Spence. So now they saying the same thing about Boots. Oh, Boots is gonna pummel him. Boots is gonna pummel him. He's gonna beat him up. But that's the same things they were saying about Errol. So the whole thing is, and I find it sad, to be honest, man, that why fans, their whole thing is, if I don't like this fighter, I'm going to discredit everything he does. I'm going to look for a negative point of view about everything he does. Everything he does is bad. The guy's in the history books. The first ever to accomplish these things. Still accomplishing. Conquering more divisions. And damn, all you could do is hate on him. All you could do is say negative stuff about him. That's crazy. I find that crazy. So, listen, Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, that's a great fight. I've been talking about it. You know, I've been posting videos about it, man. I want to manifest it. I believe, obviously, Canelo is going to be the favorite. He's supposed to be the favorite. He's the guy already, you know, at the higher division. But I believe that Terence Crawford can and will outbox Canelo Alvarez. I believe it. Personally. You know, simply because Canelo Alvarez, if you look at his loss versus Dimitri Bivol, you can see that Bivol beat him with height and reach and footwork. And those are, you know, attributes that Terence Crawford has in the bag of tools. Bud has great footwork. And then he has height and reach advantages over Canelo. That's what I tell people that they underestimate. They focus so much on 160, 160, 160. And based on that, they keep saying that, you know, Canelo's so big. But everybody ignores that Canelo's not a big dude, yo. Canelo's not a big 168 pounder. And if you put Crawford next to Canelo, Crawford's a little bit taller than Canelo, and he has longer reach. So basically, Crawford has physical advantages over Canelo. Height and reach, those are two physical advantages. So Canelo has power. When you refer to 168, it's only power because size-wise, Crawford has the physical advantage. Crawford has the physical advantage as far as the reach, as far as the height. The same two physical advantages Dimitri Bivol had over Terence Crawford. I mean, and you're right. You're right, George. You know, they both can stay in the pocket. They're both great counter punchers. However, with Terence Crawford moving up to 168, I don't believe that he'll stay in the pocket too long with Canelo. The reason I say that is because we already seen the blueprint. We already seen the guys that beat Canelo. Floyd Mayweather, Dimitri Bivol. And they beat him by outboxing him by using their footwork. Both of those guys use every single inch of that ring on Canelo. So I believe with that blueprint already out there, Terence Crawford is going to follow it because he got the skills to do so. I don't think Terence Crawford is just going to stand there and bang with him when Canelo is without a doubt going to be the stronger fighter. You know, if they fight, Canelo's going to be the stronger fighter on fight night. So, you know, I say, listen, my opinion, Bud is going to outbox him. Possibly outbox him to win a unanimous decision. If he can hurt him, I'm sure that he'll go for the stoppage. But we never seen Canelo be hurt by anyone. So I don't think Crawford is going to move up from 154 2 divisions and knock Canelo out. I don't think that'll happen. But you never know. I do got Crawford winning that fight. Against all odds. As far as William Allen, you said nobody ducking Pillow Hand Shakur. That's your opinion, my guy. I see a lot of people not calling his name. A lot of people that don't want to fight him. A lot of people coming up with excuses. And that's the thing, you know. Fans give him the excuses because when you say, oh, he's boring, he's boring. Now a guy like Rolly can tell you, oh, no, I won't fight Shakur because he's boring. You guys give fighters the excuse not to fight him. What can I tell you? I tell everybody, yo, step in the ring and fight Shakur. That's my take. Fight him. Dudes don't want to fight him. That tell you everything you need to know. Just like it was with Terrence Crawford in the 147 division, we seen the same thing with Shakur Stevenson in the 135 division. All the big dogs don't want that smoke. I mean, you're saying Crawford did it with Spence. That's not really accurate, my guy, because you got to remember, by the time he fought Errol Spence, he had already been in the division for a couple of years, and he had already fought multiple welterweights. He had already fought a few welterweights in the, you know, before getting to Errol Spence. With Canelo Alvarez, it would be different because he would be moving up to 168 and fighting Canelo right away. Plus, that's a much higher division. So I don't think we could compare that. You know, as guys move up a lot of divisions, yo, trust me, that power don't move up with them. They stop. If you look at all the best fighters, when they moved up in divisions, they stopped knocking people out. And it's for that reason. That's it. You fighting guys that are a lot heavier. The fight where you're saying that Canelo was hurt, you know, he got buzzed, but he wasn't really hurt like that, you know. And not only that, you gotta think about how many Canelo got, like 63 fights, and you're talking about one fight like 15 years ago. So that's not even worth bringing up, my brother. Like that's like when Crawford haters bring up Gamboa. Oh, Gamboa hurt him. Like, my dude, he fought Gamboa like 6-7 years ago. Three weight classes down. You still bringing that fight up? That shows you how tough of a chin Crawford got, that he got buzzed in his career how many years ago. That's what you got to bring up. So, you know, if a guy gets hurt, buzzed, almost every fighter at some point been buzzed one way or another, and it's something rarely happens, I don't even bring that up. So, my peoples, y'all got any predictions for Canelo Alvarez, Edgar Berlanga? What you got happening in that fight? Let me know. And you already know what it is, man. Hit that like button. Don't be cheap with that like button. Go like that. Boom. Hit that like button, yo. Box Center is your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. Yo, I'm telling you, I am him. I am him. I promise you, my peoples. I'm on the come up. Before I get to where I'm going, go ahead and subscribe, yo. Come with me on this ride we about to go on with boxing, peoples. I'm trying to tell you, I'm your plug, your connections. Trust me on that. So let me get y'all predictions, man. Y'all got Canelo Alvarez beating Jaime Munguia beating Edgar Berlanga. And if you got him winning that fight, do you got him winning by knockout? Or do you got this fight going the distance? Or is it going to be a slugfest, a split decision? Canelo winning by split decision. What you guys got happening in that fight? And if you got Edgar Berlanga winning it, how do you have winning it? Do you have him stopping Canelo, being the first to stop Canelo? Or do you got him winning on the cards? Yo, Jorge Soto, yo, you hit the nail in the head, my guy. Benavidez move up, and he didn't win the way people wanted to see him win. Now, he's a big guy, so because of that, he might fill up a little bit more in that weight, and he might still be able to knock people out because he's naturally a big dude. But when you're smaller and you move up, and you're fighting bigger dudes, it becomes real hard to knock people out because you're not a big dude yourself like that. Like, let me give you an example. Look at Danny Garcia. Yo, if you look at Danny Garcia at the 140 division, yo, he was destroying opponents. Landing shots that was just, yo, hurting people badly. In the welterweight division, you know, he still got a few out of there, but it wasn't the same no more. And in the 154 division, you ain't going to see him sleeping people like that. Because again, you know, he's already moved up multiple divisions. You saw Canelo Alvarez at 178. What happened versus Dimitri Bivol? I mean, at 175. What happened versus Dimitri Bivol? They put the beats on him. And whenever he landed shots on Bivol, they didn't even hurt him. Bivol ate his best shots like they were soft shell tacos. Edgar Berlanga ain't got the experience needed. Yo, listen, Jorge Soto. I was just saying that. I was saying that earlier. Yo, Edgar Berlanga has never fought for a title. This is literally his first title shot. Versus Canelo Alvarez. Versus one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. You're going to make your first championship fight? Nah, yo, you're getting washed. I've been saying it, yo. Edgar Berlanga is going to get folded. Before the 10th round. I'm telling you, the lights is gonna be too bright for him. That's how I see it. And to be honest, yo, I haven't seen that many people saying that Berlanga could win that fight. The only person I seen saying Berlanga's gonna win is Fat Joe. He said Berlanga told him he gonna knock Canelo out in the 6th, and he believed him. I don't know, man. I think Berlanga gonna let Fat Joe down. When Mikey Garcia jumped up to fight Errol, and Errol Spence out boxing for 12 rounds. And you know what? You know what, George? That's a great example. And something to Errol's defense, there was a point, and he admitted it, like in the 7th or 8th, where he tried to knock Mikey Garcia out, and he was not able to. But the reason he was not able to is because at that point, Mikey had eaten a lot of good shots, and he started fighting to survive. That's it. You could see it in the fight that Mikey Garcia was just going to defend himself and make sure he didn't get knocked out. So when Errol tried to knock him out, and he couldn't, he realized, yo, his defense is on point, and if he's just going to fight to survive, I'm not going to stop him. So I'm going to just keep outboxing him. And that's what he did. But it's not just Errol Spence. Look at Mikey Garcia's other fights at 147. He lost to, I think it was to Sandor Martin that he lost. But also, yo, Mikey Garcia was never in any way, shape, or form even close to being one of the top guys in the division. His career went like this. Because, look, number one, Mikey Garcia should have listened to his pops, should have listened to his brothers, and not fought Errol Spence. But he wanted to dare, he wanted to try it, he wanted to be great, he believed in himself. Cool, okay. Now, when he lost that fight, and he got dominated, the way that he did by Errol, he should have went right back down to 140, effective immediately. But he had that ego and decided, no, I'm going to stay at 147. And what he do? Get beat up by somebody else, had a couple more fights, never really looked good in any way or dominant in the division. And, kind of capped off his career looking bad. So, Mikey Garcia had a great career. Beat a lot of champions, won in a lot of divisions, unified titles. So he had a great career. But I think he made some bad decisions at the tail end of his career and ended off on a bad note. Besides that, he had a great career. I mean, it's not that he wasn't the same because what Errol did to him, because he didn't get hurt in that fight. He took a lot of punches, but he didn't really get hurt. I think it's more that he tried to stay at 147. He didn't want to admit that he's too small for that division. He wanted to stay there, ended up, looking bad and losing again. And kind of, like I said, man, ended his career on a bad note when he could have stayed at 140 and maybe even accomplished more. A fight was almost made between him and Lomachenko. And you never know. I'm not saying that he would have beat Lomachenko. Maybe he would have lost. But the point is that Lomachenko wasn't going to give him the type of beating that Errol gave him. That's all I'm saying. I don't think Mikey Garcia had no business going to the 147 division. That's my opinion. But check it, man. Errol Spence, we kind of don't know what's going to happen next. Look how interesting it is. We talking about how Mikey Garcia wasn't the same after he took that beating from Errol Spence. Well, is Errol Spence the same after taking that beating from Bud Crawford? We have to take into consideration that since Errol Spence got knocked out by Bud, he has been inactive for over a year. For over 400 days, in fact. He's been inactive. Supposedly, he was going to fight Fundora at the end of the year. But Fundora was mandated to fight Terrence Crawford. So he's going to have to decide, do I vacate this title, his WBO title, does he vacate it to Bud Crawford, or does he defend? If he vacate, he can go fight Errol next. If he decides to defend versus Bud, then that's going to leave Errol in the air. Who's he going to fight? Now, we got to keep in mind that Virgil Ortiz was possibly going to fight Bud Crawford next. So if Crawford fights Fundora for that title, how about Errol Spence and Virgil Ortiz at 154? I like that fight. Remember, my peoples, hit that like button. Box Center, your favorite boxers, favorite boxing show. Like I told you, my peoples, I am your connections. I'm your plug. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and get this original boxing content. By the way, yesterday, I did the first episode, Box Center, the show. It was live. Check it out. It's already up. It's only 20 minutes long. 3 segments. And you're going to see original content here. The first segment that I kicked off the show with was Goofiest of the Oofiest. That segment is about a person or people that have done some goofy ass stuff and need to be called out. How about you, my peoples? Who you think is goofy within the boxing community that does some goofy stuff? Fighters that say stuff, they trying to fight this person, but they not really trying to fight that person. That's goofy right there. They be capping. Fighters that may be trying to get clout off of somebody's name, but they not really with it. They not trying to make it happen. That's goofy stuff right there. So, yesterday I kicked off the live with Goofiest of the Oofiest, right? Then after that, the second segment was what the people want to see. And in that segment, we talk about the fights that the people want to see. That's why we're talking about Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson. Some people think Tank is going to knock him out. Some people think Shakur is going to win. At the end of the day, that means that we got to see that fight. We got to see it, because if you think that Tank is going to knock Shakur out, and I'm telling you Shakur is going to outbox him, the only way we're going to find out who's right is if Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson step in the ring versus each other. That's how we're going to find out. So that's a fight that we got to have it, and I believe it's going to happen. You know, I know that Shakur Stevenson signed with Eddie Hearn and Tank Davis is signed with Al Heyman, but I think the fight is too big, too important. There's going to be too much money involved for it to not get made. So who you guys going for? Are you going for Tank Davis to win, or are you going for Shakur Stevenson to get the upset? Because Tank is going to be the favorite. Remember, my peoples, smash that like button. Don't play with me. Smash that like button. Subscribe, yo. I'm giving you this real boxing content. I'm telling you, I am him. I'm your boxing connections, my people. I'm on the way up. Hop in this bandwagon. Take this ride with us. Jump in the Box Center family, my peoples. If you're not part of this Box Center family, yo, subscribe and come for this ride with us. And you already know what it is, my peoples. Box Center, this is where we talk boxing. This, you know, we trash talk. If you're not ready for the trash talk, this isn't for you. You're going to have to go subscribe to Showbiz, the entertainer, so he can entertain y'all. But if you down for the smoke, if you down for the trash talking, if you can handle it, you need to subscribe to Box Center. You need to give me a like. This is for you right here. I'm doing this boxing for y'all. Yo, listen, man. Beterbiev versus Bivol. That's a fight, man, that, to be honest, I haven't been able to make a prediction. I think I'm going to have to wait all the way till the weigh-in to make the prediction. I'm going to have to wait maybe to see if one of them two maybe looks drained. If one of them two in training I hear that maybe somebody got hurt in training. I got to wait, man. I'm not even ready to predict that. Because Bivol got those sharp boxing skills. That ring IQ, that's off the chart. And then Beterbiev, we all know he got that power. That one punch can change it all. And you got to wonder, you know, is Bivol going to be able to outbox Beterbiev for 12 rounds? Or is Beterbiev going to catch him with that blow? It's going to hurt him. Because we already know if Beterbiev hurt you, he's going to finish you. It's going to be a wrap. But I still got to wait, man. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to predict that fight. Just because, you know, Beterbiev got that power. But Bivol got that boxing IQ. And you can never count out boxing IQ. You saw Bivol and Canelo. What happened? I think the way that Bivol dominated Canelo really shows everybody where his boxing IQ is really at. Because I believe before Bivol fought Canelo, people felt he was a good fighter. He's a good fighter. But after he dominated Canelo, that's when people accepted, yo, Bivol is an elite level fighter. He is one of the guys. He one of them. You know, before that, he was I would say Bivol was underrated before he beat Canelo. Even though he was a champion, he was underrated because a lot of people didn't give him his flowers like that. Once he beat Canelo, that's when everybody started to accept it, like, yeah, he that dude. He can fight. So Bivol versus Beterbiev, I'm not ready to predict that yet. We'll have to stay tuned for that one. By the way, my peoples, remember what I told y'all. Box Center is live. Box Center, the show, is live 9 p.m. Eastern Time from Mondays through Fridays. Trust me, yo, you don't want to miss it. All original content. All original segments. You don't want to miss it. We talking about what the people want to talk about, what the people want to see. And, yo, you already know what it is. The content that you see here, I promise you, you're not going to see it nowhere else. The segments that I have in Box Center, the show, you will not see them anywhere else. But again, if you can't handle the trash talking, go subscribe to Showbiz or to somebody else that's going to entertain you, that does boxing news and gossip and I don't know what else. This ain't for you. You're going to get your feelings hurt out here. Ay, Santino, ¿qué lo que? So my peoples, again, man, hook it up, man. Give me that like, man. I appreciate it. If you hit that like button, you know, and I always try to tell people, you know, share my content. You know, if you love boxing, share my content, subscribe, you know, be part of the Box Center family. Let's grow together. Let's enjoy the show together. A lot of great things are coming. In case you didn't know, I run the press for Santiago's Boxing Association. So I cover amateur boxing. You get to, check out the videos, man. I got some amateur boxing videos from, you know, elite level amateur tournaments. And check out those videos, man. You'll see what it is. You will see what it is. Straight up fire. Ay, Santino, ¿qué lo que, bro? So check out the videos. You know, I'm, you know, in the amateur boxing scene. And it's just some great content, yo. Some great action. If you love boxing, once you put the first video on and you see what's going on, you're going to subscribe. You will subscribe. You're going to say, yup, Box Center is my favorite boxing channel. Listen to the slogan, Box Center, your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. You want to find out why this is your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. There's a reason. There's a reason. Watch, stay tuned, and be part of the family, my people. Why do you want to know why I say it's your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show? Simple. If you go on Instagram, check me out on Instagram. Let me see. So let me show you what's my Instagram real quick, so I can answer your question. Damn, I can't remember. Is it JSmiff? Hold on, my people. I'm going to give you my Instagram to answer your question. Hold on, my pen is playing with me. My peoples, like I told you, you watching Box Center, hit that like button, man. If you love boxing, this is going to be your favorite boxing channel. Period, point blank. There ain't no getting around it. Let me write down my Instagram so you could check it out real quick. So check out my Instagram real quick. See if you can get a screenshot of that. So it's J_Smith. So let me just spell it out for you. It's J_Smith 134. JSmiff 134. So there you have it, but put another underscore. No, not Smith with TH, Smith with FF at the end. So, what's the deal, my boy? What's up? What's up, Juan? You already know what it is, man. We going live with the peoples. We talking boxing. Appreciate you hopping on. You got it, Dale. JSmiff 134. So this is the answer to your question. By the way, my peoples, check me out on that Instagram. So the reason it's your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show is because a lot of your favorite boxers check out my stories on that Instagram. So a lot of the stuff that I talk about, that I post about, they get to see it on there, you know. And a lot of them, I might go ahead and tag them, and they'll come through and they'll check it out. So that's why it's your favorite boxers, favorite boxing show. A lot of your favorite boxers, check out Box Center once in a while, and they see the content that I'm posting. Am I bi-curious? No. The answer to that question is no. 100% heterosexual. So, when you go to Box Center on Instagram, you see that I post a lot of stories on there consistently. Almost every day I'm posting multiple stories. Same deal, yo. I'm talking about the best fights, the biggest fights. I'm giving predictions, who's going to win, what's going to happen. And my boy Only in DR, he know what's the deal, because I predicted Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence a long time before it happened. What do I think about Wilder? Well, Wilder had a good run. He had a great run. At the end of the day, I think that his time is up. He's somebody who was very gifted physically, but his talent wasn't at the highest level. He was a good fighter who had exceptional athletic abilities, and he was able to use his physicality to achieve a lot of things as a heavyweight. Now, as you can see, he's been, he got beat up badly by Big Bang Zhang. He took a bad loss to Tyson Fury as well. 2 losses to Tyson Fury. So I believe that Wilder is done. I think he should have retired. And even after taking this last loss, it looks like he's still going to fight again. I think that at this point, he just doesn't want to retire on a loss maybe. But I think he's done. He no longer has a chance to actually beat one of the top dogs. I mean, I believe that him firing his coach had to have affected him, to be honest. Because if you look at from the time that he fired him, I forgot his name, Malik. From the time that he fired his coach after the first fight with Fury, he only went downhill. He got worse and worse. You even seen him practicing like some type of 360 move. He looked goofy as hell doing that. And then right before he got knocked out, he happened to have done a 360 and then got knocked out. So it's like, what? You was practicing a 360 for a fight to get knocked out? So, and then the guy that was training him, it was a guy that he had knocked out before. That dude wasn't even known as a trainer to my knowledge. So I don't even know what that guy was doing training him. Why that guy is Wilder's trainer? Look, I'm going to tell y'all what I heard. I'm not going to tell you this is the real deal, but this is what I heard, what I've been told, right? Y'all remember that Floyd Mayweather actually offered Wilder to train him. When he was preparing for the rematch with Fury, Floyd Mayweather offered to train him. And Wilder said no. So what I've been told behind the scenes is that Wilder, he not really trying to pay trainers money like that. He not trying to give out that money like that. And you know that the top level trainer, the best trainers in the world, they're going to charge you a lot of money. Wilder ain't trying to hear it. So that's why he got a dude that he knocked out a few years ago as his trainer. Because I guess he could probably pay him whatever he want. Now, this is what I have heard. I'm not saying that it is the way that it played out. But that's what I have heard. That he not trying to pay big money. So that's why he don't got a big name trainer in his corner. And one thing about trainers is that they're underappreciated and underestimated. People don't realize how important a trainer is to a fighter's development. Not just to a fighter's development, but how important trainers are to help fighters make adjustments. There's fights where a guy's losing and that trainer's in that corner giving them the adjustments to make. And they win because they make those adjustments. Who is my GOAT? Well, my GOAT had always been Muhammad Ali. But eventually I came around and my GOAT is Floyd Mayweather. That's my GOAT. What I realized is that people don't want to give Floyd Mayweather that GOAT status because they don't like him. But you got to remember that back in the day, people didn't like Ali either. He was one of the most hated athletes. So when we talk about the GOAT, it's not about do I like the guy, do I not like the guy. And also Ali, people see him as the GOAT, not just because of what he did in the ring, but what he did outside the ring. That's why. The man that he was. That makes him, Ali became bigger than boxing. And I think that's part of why, Floyd Mayweather is never going to be accepted the way that Ali was. But if we look at the accomplishments, if we look at the records, then we have to go with Floyd Mayweather. Eventually, I had to come around and say, you know what, it's Floyd. Floyd is that dude. So listen, you see what you're saying, King Grayson? Yo, before I wouldn't put Floyd ahead of Ali no matter what. But then I realized, damn, the reason I'm putting Ali ahead of Floyd is really because I like Ali so much. Like Ali means so much to me that I just couldn't put anybody else above him. Like that was just not possible for me to do it. And then I just came around. I just started saying, you know what, I got to take my emotions for the person. I can't think about Ali the person. I got to look at Ali the fighter and Floyd the fighter. I got to look at that, and that's it. And that's when I decided, you know what, I have to go with Floyd. I have to. And I'm not going with Floyd because he retired undefeated. I'm not going with Floyd because of the 50-0. Because casual fans hold on to the, he's undefeated. No. I see Floyd as that guy because the number of champions that he beat, the number of Hall of Famers that he beat. That's why. Ali fought everybody, you're right. And Floyd, he fought everybody. So you know what, to be honest, I think Ali and Floyd are both have both a good argument to make. Like, I'll give you an example. Watch this. This is interesting, right? I just told you I got Floyd as my GOAT. But who do I think has the most important win in boxing history? The biggest win in boxing history. The answer to that question, Muhammad Ali. Ali's win over Big George Foreman is bigger than any win in Floyd Mayweather's career. That I can tell you. Yeah, when he went to jail, that messed him up. But think about this. When Ali beat George Foreman had already absolutely destroyed Frazier. Like, he was landing uppercuts that were lifting that man off of the floor. George Foreman was brutally knocking everybody out. People were scared for Ali. You could even see the video. People just quiet. You could see it in their face. Even Ali told them, yo, y'all scared? Everybody thought that Ali was going to get completely brutalized by George Foreman. He was the underdog. And they climbed in that ring. The rest was history. We all know what happened. So I believe that right there is the biggest win in history. Floyd, He has a lot of great wins, but he doesn't have a win where he was in that situation where everybody thought, yo, this guy's gonna kill Floyd. Oh my God. Because you gotta remember, George Foreman was a lot younger than Ali. So people thought he was gonna kill him. And you saw what happened. Oh my goodness, yo, Gregory. De La Hoya is one of my all-time favorites. De La Hoya was up for that smoke with everybody. With everybody. Pernell Whitaker, Julio Cesar Chavez, Macho Camacho, Felix Trinidad. Yo, De La Hoya was about Bernard Hopkins. De La Hoya was about that smoke. For Shane Mosley too. Yo. And Julio Cesar Chavez, definitely one of the Mexican GOATs. Matter of fact, yo, Julio Cesar Chavez is the guy that got me hooked on boxing. My first fight ever, my father took me to a friend's house to see Julio Cesar Chavez versus Meldrick Taylor. And once I saw that fight, I was hooked on boxing. Hooked on boxing. It's crazy because with that being my first fight, when I saw Meldrick Taylor, he looked so ripped. I was like, yo, nah, man, the black dude, he gonna beat the Mexican up. He gonna beat him up. I was watching the highlights and the replays of his older fights. I was like, oh, nah, man, this dude's gonna kill the Mexican. And you know that Julio Cesar Chavez, he wasn't the muscular type. He didn't look like he was cut up or ripped or anything like that. He looked like a guy that barely goes to the gym, like the way his body looks. And, I just felt like he was going to get beat up badly. And you saw how that fight played out, man. Meldrick Taylor was putting hands on Chavez. Last round, Chavez lands that right hand, and the rest is history. Now, yo, King Grayson, that's real talk. Oscar De La Hoya is for real, for real. That's why, yo, he's a Hall of Famer. He deserved to be a Hall of Famer. And he was one of the best of the era. His era, De La Hoya, was one of the best. Roy Jones Jr., I don't put him. The thing is that once you test positive for steroids, he tests positive for steroids. And it's real hard to then say how many fights did he use that for. But I can tell you, I don't put Roy Jones in the top 5 or even the top 10. The reason why, and it's not even his fault, but Roy Jones, for most of his career, he didn't have star opponents in the divisions that he fought. He didn't have big names around him so he could fight. So he fought a lot of people who just were no-names opponents. Now, he beat James Lights Out Tony. That's a great win for his resume because Lights Out Tony is the truth. He beat... You see, this is one thing that I didn't like about Roy Jones Jr. that got me mad. He beat Bernard Hopkins, right? Early in their career. And there was a rematch. They had a rematch. They were supposed to have a rematch. And Bernard Hopkins even had to fight an eliminator, I remember. If I'm not mistaken, it was on HBO. And Bernard Hopkins fought the eliminator. He won. He won his fight. And Roy Jones was next. Didn't make the fight. The fight never got made. So the rematch, with them in their prime, it just never happened. They ended up fighting, after they had retired and everything, which I don't even count that. But Roy Jones, I think, he didn't have the marquee opponents for me to put him in the top 10. I'm talking about all time, though. Remember, we're talking about all time. Of the era, Roy Jones was one of the best of the era. And in fact, if we talk about talent, Roy Jones is one of the most talented fighters we've ever seen in boxing. One of the most talented fighters I ever seen. One of the most dominant fighters I ever seen. Let me point that out. To Mayorga's credit, he never. Oh, Mayorga was the real deal too. Mayorga was a real deal too. But let me tell you something about Mayorga. Mayorga is kind of like Maidana. Mayorga and Maidana have certain similarities. That they were not the most talented. They were not the most technically advanced, but they were dogs. They just refuse to lose. They the type of fighters that refuse to lose. They the type of fighters that they're gonna fight till the last moment. They're gonna fight hard. And there's fighters that they fight so hard that they can beat guys who are more talented than them. Because I can tell you right now, Adrian Broner was more talented than Maidana. But Maidana was a dog. And he was going to beat your face. And he was going to attack. He was going to make it uncomfortable. And you see what a guy like that can do. He beat him. Ooh, Salvador Sanchez. Salvador Sanchez would have ended his career as one of the greatest of all time if he didn't die early. Like, this guy died mad young and he still accomplished a lot. As a like, if you see the age that he died, the guy's in his 20s when he died, you're like, wait a minute, how he win so many titles and beat so many champions? This guy was only in his 20s. Salvador Sanchez, man, he was headed for a level of greatness that he may have been the greatest Mexican. Till this day, there's people that consider him the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. I have a hard time putting him there simply because his career, his life was cut short. And we don't know how it would have played out had he kept fighting. For me, I got to put Canelo Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez at the top of the list. And Oscar De La Hoya, you don't put him there just because he's considered American, even though he's of Mexican blood. So I have to go with Chavez and Canelo. Benavidez reminds me of Sanchez. Yo. And you know what? Benavidez is a very, very good combination puncher, just like Salvador Sanchez was. They both let their hands go on the inside. And that's my favorite thing about David Benavidez. That he's always very patient, but when he lets his hands go, he lets his hands go. He's gonna do what he's gotta do. My peoples. First of all, man, I want to thank you guys for coming on with me, talking boxing for a little bit. I want to remind y'all, Box Center, the show is going to be live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time from Monday through Fridays. Go ahead and hit that like button, my peoples. Go ahead and subscribe to Box Center. Yo, some great content is coming up. I'm live Monday through Friday, man. Tune in. Like I told y'all, man, I am your connections. I am your plug. Check in. Join the Box Center family and see what we talking about. So my peoples, I'm going to drop off. I'm actually going to go live again later tonight at about 7 o'clock. So in 2 hours. In 2 hours, I'm going to go live again. But I got to answer to my boy Gregory because you my guy. I can't just drop off and not answer to you, my G. Joe Calzaghe, he is underrated. He's way underrated. But you know why he's underrated? To be honest, because he wasn't a flashy fighter. He was a fighter, he's very technically sound, but he wasn't flashy. He just came in there and beat your ass. He was kind of like a Tim Duncan of boxing. Tim Duncan was never flashy, but he put them Hall of Fame numbers up, right? So Calzaghe, he the truth. My peoples, y'all already know what it is, man. At 7 o'clock Eastern Time, that's going to be in 2 hours. I'm going to be back on. I appreciate y'all coming on with me. Box Center, your favorite boxers, favorite boxing show. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to come back and join me at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be talking boxing. We're going to be trash talking. Yo, listen, I'm going to keep it real with you. If you don't like to trash talk, Box Center is not for you. If you can't handle the trash talking, you might as well unsubscribe to Box Center and go subscribe to something else. Because Box Center is for people that's ready to handle the trash talking. We're going to do what we're going to do. So at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, in 2 hours, come through and be ready for that smoke. Be ready for that smoke. Y'all already know, my peoples. It's all love, man. We all love boxing. We enjoy it. Let's get it in 2 hours, my people. I appreciate y'all hopping on with me, man. Like Errol Spence, Ken Grayson, you got it. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. My boy Ken Grayson, Jorge Soto, Gregory, my peoples. Let's get together at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to talk boxing. Be ready for that trash talking too, though. Y'all already know what it is, man. Hit that like and subscribe and share Box Center. Let the world know that this is it right here. I'm your connections and I'm your plug. It's all love, my peoples. Peace out.